Hi all, I'm back. It's late. It's almost midnight, and I can't sleep. And I will get into that in a later video. Um, I kind of skipped ahead. There's something important, and let me do pray. God, um, align with Jesus Christ and the Holy Spirit. Speak through me. May I only speak truth and what you need me to share. Okay, so when I was 12 and I'd been going through the incest and messing around with other kids, a voice from inside of me spoke that I needed to stop and what I was doing was wrong. And I stopped. I listened to that voice. I don't know why, but it, it was like, oh, I'm not supposed to be doing this. Don't do this anymore. So I stopped. Um, and so I get back. I'm okay. So I get into the hard drugs. Just after I turned 19, 20, and it gets bad. It gets really, really bad, and in 18 months, I had 2 nervous breakdowns and my second attempt at uh, suicide. So what happened is it just kept making more poorer and poorer decisions, and I came across a I like met my soulmate. They actually exist, a miracle, but they're not. They don't. They, sometimes it's not for you. And so he was a brother to a guy that I was seeing, and I saw him, and I had to have him. And the first time I had intercourse with him, the reason I say this is because I've never experienced this before and since. It felt like my soul was meshing with this man's. I felt complete for the first time. So we move in together, and I'm trying to like clean up my act and get a job. And all of a sudden, he starts wearing like um, pajamas to bed. And I'm like, what's going on? And oh no, no, nothing. So within a week, he brings his brother over, and he promptly tells me to move out. Well, my mom gave us the money for the apartment. I should have said no. I'm not the one moving out. You're the one moving out. But I was pretty much defeated in life. I never felt any joy, never felt any happiness. I didn't know what those were. All I had was misery, and the more I heaped on myself, the more miserable I was, the more worthless I was. I just reinforced all the negative. You know, what's pretty great is, it has a better ending, and I'll get there. So I go ahead and I call my dad. He's like, come. And so before we get there, um, I planned in my mind to commit suicide, and I stopped at the store and get what I need, a bottle of alcohol and some razors. And so my dad is there, and him and his fiance were getting ready to leave to go out. And I think really, if he would have stopped and said, I love you, it's okay, we'll get through this together, that would have completely changed my mind. But he didn't. So I take my bike out to a park, and it's in San Pedro, and there's cliffs there, and they have a whole bunch of bushes, and I hid. I hid really, really well, and I got drunk and wrote a couple of letters, one to my mom, one to my dad, and one to this this guy apologizing. I don't even remember what I said in the letters. But I really, really was like, I create no good. I don't know what good is. Everything is a disaster. I'm no success in my life ever. I had gifts. I had a gift for writing when I was in school, and my spelling and my grammar and punctuation was horrible. Because I missed so much school. But teachers would grade me just so well because I just had a gift. And I also sang. I had a beautiful voice, and of course, when I started smoking at 16, that kind of went by the wayside. And so I get behind, I slice my wrists, and good thing I didn't know what I was doing, and I won't share the right way because no one needs to know. And they find me. I'm like hidden, okay? I don't know how they found me. That's like just amazing to me. And so I get to the hospital. My mom comes in, starts yelling at me. What are you doing? Why would you do such a thing? And my dad's fiance comes in, and she's like, "You're not gonna deal with this. You're gonna get out of this." Because I was kind of catatonic at that time. And I just kind of went with the flow, and they took me home. And I was cleaning and doing everything I could to like show my appreciation. And the fiance is like, "I know you're just doing all this to get paid, and that's really not why I was doing it." She was a major drunk, and she basically told my dad it's her or me. And my dad had my aunt let me move in with her for a while, and I got jobs and started using again, and I got into a program. It was a Christian 12-step program. And I didn't do any steps. My memory is kind of a fog at that time, but I did get baptized. It's kind of like I was just going with the flow. It didn't connect with me. Nothing was like sticking in me or like bringing a light to my eyes. And so I got out of that program and got an apartment, had a good job, and the manager used to chase me around the store at night when we were closing, trying to touch me and stuff. And so I was doing a lot of drugs. I was drinking a lot, and I quit that job and got another job and kind of tried to clean up my act a little bit. And I got involved with this guy, and he really cared about me, and I cared about him. And one night, his sister is getting drunk at the bar at the place I work, and she tells me that her father had been molesting her all her life, and she was in her 30s. Okay? Not knowing what was going on subconsciously, but that just started me on a run like no other. And inside I knew that if I stayed with this guy and got involved, because I seriously was like, I'm gonna marry this guy, I know it, that I would couldn't trust my children around his father, and I would never put someone in that position. And so I broke things off with him, and I lied to him, and I went ahead and just went on a whole heck of a run. It got to the point where my nose was bleeding really bad, like 20 minutes long. I couldn't stop it. And so I this was before I tried to commit suicide and met my soulmate. So I met my dad's and do that and the program, and I I get so bad that I can't be touched. I can't talk coherent sentences. And I'm living with my grandmother, and I go to a counseling session, and I don't know where this came from. It wasn't even on my mind. But I said, I think I have a drinking problem. Okay. No one had ever asked me if I drank, used drugs, tried to get to the root of things with me. Um, so the fact that I even said that is like a miracle, okay? And so I went home, or the counselor said, I think maybe you should go to an AA meeting. And and I'm trying not to connect with that. This is my story. The reason I'm making this story is for another purpose, and hopefully it will lead people to outlets and to get help. Um, so I went ahead and I talked to my aunt, and she told me that my uncle was sober. He had like 10 plus years, and so he took me to my first meeting. And my first meeting, people were getting up there and they were telling my story. The fact that they blacked out when they drank, or when they drank they would lose their clothes or become the star. There was many times that I became the star, and that's not the normal me. I'm more quiet to myself. So it's surprising that I can be sitting here telling everyone my life story, but God wants me to do this. So God's will is my will. So they tell me, if you do what we did, your life will get better. I didn't really have trust. I didn't even have a willingness. My way wasn't working any longer, and so I threw myself into meetings, and I threw myself into the 12 steps and the 12 traditions and all kinds of meetings. And I got friends, my like best friend, and we did everything together, and I just loved her so much. And so I was working at McDonald's finally, and I was there for several months. And a guy comes in. Well, let me back up a little bit. One of the assistant managers just berates my coworkers, and I won't let her talk to me like that. So I tell her, don't talk to them like that. That's not right. And so this guy comes in with $100, and McDonald's, they don't cash $100 bills. But she's like, oh, we'll do it. The next day, my drawer was missing $100. I was like, I told the boss that told me they were firing, I go, if I needed the money, I could go to my family, my dad, my grandmother. I don't need to steal money, It was ingrained in me, in the program. Watch the walk, not the talk. It was ingrained in me. Truth. And I had never been told that before. I was a manipulator. Everything was my way, or I made it my way, any way, shape, or form. So it was a big change for me to do these things, but I believed, and the more I faced my fears and trusted in God and grew with God, the more courage I had, the more belief I had in God. And I looked back, and I started to look back at my life and see where God was protecting me. At that point in time, I didn't realize to the extent as I do today. And I came to forgive my parents, and give their judgment to God. And I just tried my best, but there was secrets that I was even keeping for myself. And I did my first 4-step, and I had that flash of my uncle making me do that to him. And that, when my aunt told me about when I was a baby and went down the stairs, I saw it. I saw myself going down the stairs. And, it was just all these things, and I just really felt like God was helping me get a better person. And, I was starting to believe in a loving, caring God, not a punishing, damaging God, or, you know, and I knew that I had to forgive in my heart, and I learned how to pray. I at first I prayed for what I wanted. Be careful what you pray for; you just might get it. And then I started praying for people to be happy, as I someday will be. That's a real good prayer if you have real anger or hatred or just bad will towards someone. Do that for like 21 days. It's an amazing. And I found out faith without works is dead, and plant the seed and it will grow. And I was just, doing my best to change. God gave me the opportunity, and I was just going to do with it. And so, family members started dying, about 6 of them, and one very special family member died, and a great aunt, and she loved me and I knew it, and I wasn't there when she asked for me to, when she was dying. I couldn't face it, and I stuffed it, and I didn't deal with it. And so I'm going to stop there because I'm getting close to the 20-minute mark, and then I'll start up again, okay? God bless all.